Okay, so back to tequila. So what was it that made you want to start sharing this information about tequila with others, you think?
Well, there was also another influence, and, you know, it was kind of obviously seeing what some other places were doing in San Francisco, and there was one place in particular called Corona Bar and Grill, and Corona Bar and Grill had, I want to say, 12 and no more than maybe 16 tequilas on their list, and they claimed to have the largest list in the Bay Area, and they were a trendy, well-known restaurant with a famous chef who at the time was John Sedler, who's a really great guy and really cool, and food's amazing. And the place was really cool, but it was a southwestern kind of themed restaurant because, you know, Mark Miller as well as John Sedler, the grandfathers of probably Southwest cuisine in this country, they were making big names for themselves, and people were hot on their tails for what they were doing. And tequila kind of came along with that ride in the Southwest, in New Mexico and in LA and in San Francisco. But anyway, I got pissed off, and you know, because they claimed to have the largest list, and I had like maybe 6 or 7 more 100% agave products, and my list blew them away, but nobody ever fucking heard of me or Tommy's. And so, you know, I needed a way to find out how to sell these products that I had that were not household names. And eventually that would lead to me creating our little tequila club, you know, and having a little punch card and all that.
So when did that first start?
Shit, that actually, you know, almost at the same time, or what's weird is even a little bit before. And that was kind of luck, because I had been talking about this idea of starting like a beer around the world club based on what had happened at a bar in Berkeley called Raleigh's, which is a bar I would frequent when I was at university. And, you know, they had this gimmick to try all their beers. But I would tell this idea to customers, and one of my friends and customers, Nick, said, hey, why don't we do this, you know, on the computer and design something? And God, that's, you know, when I first found out about Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and, you know, graphic things on the Mac. And I mean, so again, very, late 80s, early 90s. But so this place, Corona Bar and Grill, that would tout their selection, and we blew them out of the water. And wanting to teach people came as a function of people asking me. Now, I didn't know what I was buying back then, really. You know, I had visited very few places. There was never a formal place to go learn about tequila. You know, the CRT didn't exist yet. And people were very proprietary with their knowledge. In fact, you know, I found a lot of resistance trying to visit people and learn, because people thought I was there maybe to steal ideas or make tequila, which, you know, I must make a statement about and say that, you know, it doesn't matter if you show someone your entire process and even give them the exact yeast strain you may have or use or buy or whatever, because if you duplicate someone's entire process in a different location, your product's going to be different, so it doesn't really matter. And plus, really, to duplicate someone else's systems and procedures is almost cost prohibitive. You're better off learning whatever it is you learn if you want to make something, and then doing it your own way, because you'll find it more practical. But anyway, so finding a lot of resistance. When customers in San Francisco would ask me, well, can you tell me anything about Centinela? And the first answers were, yeah, it's made in Arandas. And that, luckily for my guests, was not enough. I mean, they were hungry. They were thirsty for knowledge. And, you know, and I mean, everyone out there who's been a teacher of anything knows that there's a great feeling associated when you can actually help someone, right? Or teach someone something, and then you see them tell it to someone else, and hopefully if you're getting good instruction and it's true, well, you start something that's special, and that's what happened to me. When my customers started asking me more than I could answer, well, I mean, you know, it gets frustrating to say I don't know. And coming from the Berkeley environment, which is very inquisitive, and, you know, you have to learn more. But it also evolved to, you know, we were one of the first restaurant groups to start taking consumers to Mexico to visit distilleries.
When was your first trip to take consumers, you think?
Shit, man, Phil, my brain is mush.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say 95, 1995.
Yeah.
And it took a while, like, for the club to take off. The club was a disaster at first. No one gave a shit about it. I was giving out these cards, punch cards for free, and I mean, no one cared. No one took a lot of interest in it. I mean, people took some interest, but there was a monumental change the day when Greg Mikowski graduated as my first tequila master in, I think, 1996, right? Because we had been doing the club for years.
Yeah.
And people in the restaurant saw a patron showered with attention and recognition. That's when it took off, and people started to really give a shit about it. But again, the influence was not being able to satisfy my guests' requests. First and foremost, it's not tequila, it's hospitality, right? And what we were trying to do at Tommy's is in some way teach people about tequila. And when we reached our limits with the resources we had been given, we had to do more. So we had to go to Mexico. We had to go try to find people that would be willing to tell us how the industry really works, because a lot of people just stretched the truth and lied, flat out lied, and told you what you wanted to hear. But if it wasn't for our guests wanting to know more, you know,